The next day, Jake found himself pacing around his living room, his heart racing as he anticipated Lily's return. The time apart had felt like an eternity, and now that she was coming home, he knew he had to address the elephant in the room. When the door finally opened, he felt a rush of relief mixed with anxiety. "Hey, I'm back," Lily exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "Welcome back," he replied, trying to keep his tone neutral. Lily dropped her bag and approached him, wrapping her arms around his waist. "I missed you." Jake smiled, but felt his heart pounding in his chest. "I missed you too. Can we talk?" "Sure, I'm so excited to tell you all about it," she said, her enthusiasm palpable. "Actually, I want to talk about us first," he said, his voice steady. Lily's expression shifted, her smile fading slightly. "Okay." "Lily, I'm really glad you had fun this weekend, but I need to be honest. I've been feeling really insecure about you spending time with Tony," he confessed, his gaze locking onto hers. "Jake, please, I told you it was just work," she shot back, frustration evident in her voice. "I know you said that, but it felt like you were bonding in a way that we haven't in a long time," he continued, desperate for her to understand. "What do you want me to say? I can't just stop working with him because you're feeling insecure," Lily replied, crossing her arms defensively. "I'm not asking you to stop working with him. I just want to know that you're committed to us," Jake said, feeling the heat of his emotions rising. "I am committed to us, but I can't just drop everything for you. I need to have my own life too," she argued, her voice raising. "Then why do I feel like you're pushing me away?" Jake shot back, frustration spilling over. "Maybe because you're making this all about you. I'm allowed to have friends," she yelled, her voice echoing in the living room. "Friends? Is that what he is to you? Because it doesn't feel like that to me," Jake said, his heart pounding. Lily paused, her expression softening slightly. "Jake, please. It's not like that. I didn't mean to make you feel this way. But it does feel that way, and I don't know how to fix it," he admitted, feeling vulnerable for the first time. "Maybe we both need to figure out how to reconnect," she suggested, her tone softening. As they stood in the tension-filled room, Jake felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe this was the conversation they needed to have to begin healing the rift between them. "Let's work on it together," he proposed, searching her eyes for agreement. "Okay," she said, a small smile breaking through her earlier frustration. "But we have to be open with each other." "Agreed," Jake replied, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. As they sat down to talk more, Jake realized that the weekend away hadn't just been a test of their relationship. It had been a wake-up call. They needed to communicate and rebuild their connection, no matter how uncomfortable the conversations might be. In the weeks that followed, Jake and Lily worked hard to mend the cracks in their relationship. They made a conscious effort to communicate openly and honestly, discussing their fears and insecurities without placing blame. Jake learned to trust Lily more, even as he struggled with the memories of her weekend with Tony. He found himself focusing on their time together, reminding himself of the love that had brought them together in the first place. Lily, on the other hand, took steps to reassure Jake. She invited him to her work functions, ensuring that he felt included in her life. They spent evenings together, talking about their day and even exploring new hobbies as a couple. But as the weeks passed, Jake still felt a lingering sense of unease. He couldn't shake the feeling that Lily was still keeping something from him, especially when it came to her interactions with Tony. One evening, as they were lounging on the couch, Jake decided to address the elephant in the room once more. "Lily, can we talk about Tony again?" he asked, his heart racing. "Jake, I thought we agreed to let it go. I told you it was just work," she replied, shifting slightly away from him. "I know you did, but I still feel uneasy. I can't help it," he admitted, his voice low. "Why do you keep bringing this up?" "I thought we were moving forward," she said, her frustration rising again. "Because I need to know that you're being honest with me. I just want to feel secure in our relationship," he said, looking her in the eye. "Okay, I'll be honest," she replied, her voice steady. "Tony is just a coworker to me. He's funny and charming, but it's nothing more than that." "Then why do I feel like there's something more?" Jake asked, feeling a knot in his stomach. Lily sighed, running a hand through her hair. I don't know what to say to make you feel better. I can't change who I work with, Jake. I get that, but can you at least let me know if things change? He pressed, desperation creeping into his voice. Of course, but I need you to trust me, she replied, her eyes pleading. Jake nodded, feeling a mixture of hope and uncertainty. I want to trust you. I really do. Over the next few weeks, they continued to rebuild their relationship, but the tension surrounding Tony never fully dissipated. Jake found himself constantly checking his phone, worried that he would receive a message about some new development. It wasn't until one Friday evening that everything changed. Jake was sitting on the couch, scrolling through social media when he stumbled upon a photo that made his heart drop. It was a group photo of the HR team, taken during a recent work event. Lily stood smiling next to Tony, her hand resting casually on his shoulder. The image felt like a punch to the gut, and Jake's heart raced as he took in the scene. He tried to brush it off, but the gnawing feeling of jealousy reared its ugly head again. As the night wore on, he felt his emotions boil over. Lily, he called out, unable to contain himself. What's wrong? She asked, coming into the room. Did you have fun at the work event? He asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Yeah, it was great. Why? She replied, her expression curious. I just saw the photo of you and Tony. You look really close, he said, his voice rising. Lily's expression shifted. Jake, it was just a photo. We were all having fun. Having fun? It looks like you're all buddy-buddy with him, he said, feeling anger bubble up. Stop it. You're making a big deal out of nothing, she exclaimed, frustration evident in her voice. Am I? Because it feels like you're ignoring how this makes me feel, Jake said, his heart racing. Lily crossed her arms, her frustration spilling over. I can't help how you feel, Jake. I can't just cut off everyone I work with because you're feeling insecure. I'm not asking you to cut anyone off. I just want to feel like I matter, he said, desperation creeping into his voice. Of course you matter, but this has to stop. I'm tired of feeling like I have to justify my friendships to you, Lily shot back. Maybe if you were more transparent about your interactions, I wouldn't feel this way, Jake retorted, feeling the anger rising. Lily took a step back, her expression softening. I didn't realize it bothered you this much. I'm sorry, but I can't control how people perceive our relationship at work. Jake took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. I know that, but I need to feel secure in us. I want to know you're committed to me. I am committed to you, she said, her voice quieter now. But we both need to work on trusting each other. As the conversation simmered down, Jake felt a flicker of hope. They were starting to understand each other, but there was still so much left to untangle. In the following days, Jake and Lily made a concerted effort to focus on their relationship. They sought out couples' activities, from cooking classes to hiking trips, in an attempt to reconnect on a deeper level. One Saturday, they decided to spend the day at a nearby winery, enjoying the fresh air and beautiful scenery. As they sipped wine and laughed together, Jake felt a sense of peace wash over him. This was the woman he had fallen in love with, the one who could light up his world with a smile. I'm glad we're doing this, Jake said, leaning back in his chair, feeling the sun warm his face. Me too, Lily replied, her eyes sparkling. I miss this. Jake looked at her, feeling a renewed sense of hope. I want us to keep doing things like this, just you and me. Absolutely, she said, reaching for his hand. As the afternoon wore on, they talked about everything from their dreams to their fears, letting their guard down as they explored their feelings. For the first time in a long while, Jake felt a genuine connection with Lily. But as they returned home, Jake's mind drifted back to Tony. He tried to push the thoughts away, focusing instead on the warmth of Lily's hand in his. Hey, can we talk about something? Jake asked as they settled on the couch. Sure, what's on your mind? Lily replied, her attention fully on him. I've been thinking a lot about Tony and how I've reacted to him, Jake began. I realize I've let my jealousy cloud my judgment. Lily nodded, encouraging him to continue. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I want to trust you completely, but I think I need more communication about your interactions with him, he admitted, searching her eyes for understanding. Okay, I can do that. I'll keep you in the loop, Lily replied, her voice soothing. Thank you. I know it sounds unreasonable, but it helps me feel more secure, he said, relief flooding through him. Trust is a two-way street, Jake. I want you to feel secure, but I also need you to trust me, Lily said, her eyes serious. I do trust you. I really do, he reassured her, feeling a sense of hope for the first time in weeks. As they sat together, Jake realized that they were finally making progress. It would take time to rebuild their connection fully, but they were willing to put in the effort. A few weeks later, just as Jake felt their relationship stabilizing, Lily received an unexpected promotion at work. While he was thrilled for her, the timing felt eerie. The promotion meant more responsibility, and with that, more interactions with Tony. That evening, as they celebrated with dinner, Jake tried to push down the anxiety bubbling inside him. I can't believe I got the promotion, Lily exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. Congratulations, you deserve it, Jake replied, forcing a smile. Thank you. I'll be overseeing the HR team now. It's a big step, she said, her excitement palpable. That's great, but does that mean more time with Tony? He asked cautiously. Lily's expression shifted. Yes, but it's all professional, I promise. Jake nodded, but the knot in his stomach tightened. He wanted to trust her, but the thought of her spending even more time with him filled him with unease. As the days passed, he noticed subtle changes in Lily's behavior. She started staying late more often coming home with stories about her day that included Tony. At first, Jake tried to brush off his worries, but soon the anxiety morphed into paranoia. The images of them together began to haunt him, and he found himself replaying every interaction they'd had in his mind, analyzing every detail. One night, he couldn't take it anymore. As they sat on the couch watching TV, he turned to Lily, unable to hold back his feelings any longer. Lily, can we talk? He asked, his heart racing. Sure, what's up? She replied, turning off the TV. I don't know how to say this without sounding like a jealous boyfriend, but I'm feeling insecure again. You're spending so much time with Tony, he admitted, searching her eyes for understanding. Lily sighed, her expression shifting to one of frustration. Jake, I told you I can't help it. It's part of my job now. I know, but it feels like you're pulling away from me, he said, his voice trembling. Pulling away? How can you say that? I'm just trying to do my job, she shot back, her voice rising. Because you're sharing your life with him, and I feel like I'm being shut out, Jake replied, desperation creeping in. Maybe if you focused on your own interests instead of obsessing over me, you wouldn't feel this way, she snapped, crossing her arms. Lily, that's not fair. I'm trying to support you, but it's hard when I feel like I'm losing you, he argued, feeling hurt. I'm still here, Jake. I'm not going anywhere, she replied, frustration spilling over. Then why do I feel so distant? He asked, his voice breaking. Maybe because you're making assumptions instead of trusting me, she exclaimed. Jake took a deep breath, feeling the tension thick in the air. I want to trust you, but this is hard for me. I need to feel secure in us. Lily paused, her expression softening again. I'm sorry if I've made you feel that way. I don't want to lose you. Then let's work on this together. I don't want to fight about Tony anymore, Jake suggested, hoping for a breakthrough. Okay, let's do that. But you need to let me be myself too, she replied, her voice steady. As they talked through their feelings, Jake felt a renewed sense of hope. It wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to fight for their relationship. In the weeks that followed, Jake and Lily made significant progress in their relationship. They learned to communicate more openly and set boundaries that allowed them both to feel secure. Jake started focusing on his own interests, spending time with friends and pursuing hobbies that he had neglected. This newfound independence helped ease his insecurities and allowed him to see Lily in a new light. Lily, in turn, became more mindful of Jake's feelings. She made a point to share details about her work and keep him involved in her life. The more they communicated, the more their bond strengthened. One evening, as they sat together on the couch, Jake turned to Lily, feeling a sense of peace wash over him. "I feel like we're finally in a good place," he said, smiling at her. "Me too. I'm so glad we worked through everything," she replied, her eyes sparkling. "Thank you for being patient with me. I know I can be a handful," Jake admitted, feeling grateful. "I appreciate your honesty. It's what brought us here," she said, reaching for his hand. As the weeks turned into months, they began planning a weekend getaway to celebrate their renewed connection. They chose a cozy cabin in the mountains, excited to escape the pressures of their daily lives. As they packed for their trip, Jake felt a sense of anticipation. They had both grown so much, and he was ready to explore this new chapter in their relationship. On the day of their trip, they drove to the cabin, the scenic views providing the perfect backdrop for their weekend of reconnecting. Once they arrived, Jake felt a wave of excitement wash over him. They settled into the cabin, enjoying the rustic charm and beautiful surroundings. As they hiked through the woods and shared laughs by the fire, Jake felt a renewed sense of love for Lily. They were finally at a point where they could face challenges together instead of letting them tear them apart. That evening, as they sat under the stars, Jake turned to Lily, his heart full. "I can't imagine my life without you," he said, his voice sincere. "Neither can I." "I love you, Jake," she replied, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "I love you too," he said, leaning in to kiss her. In that moment, surrounded by nature and warmth, Jake realized that they had turned a corner. They were no longer haunted by insecurities. Instead, they were building a strong foundation for their future together. As they held each other close, Jake felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the journey they had taken. They had faced their fears, rebuilt trust, and found a way back to each other. And for the first time in a long time, he felt truly secure in their love.